Hello, everybody. This is Kevin McDonald from the Satori Show, and I want to let you know that the show's going to start in just a moment. But before it does, I want to play this song, and I want you to listen very carefully as to, number one, the lyrics of the song, and also whose voice you hear on that song. And then we're going to start the show, and you'll be able to listen to us talk to the producer and the artist, who's the same guy, about his song, this song, and who is on it and why. With that, here's a song from Cosmo Problem, and it's called Fear Isn't Real.
The explosive power comes from the real. But you are well advised to have your mind ready for it. Fear will delay until another opportunity arises. In practice, a situation must arise when all the factors necessary for self-realization are present. Fear wasn't real. 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 Fear wasn't
There
real.
ain't no words to describe this feeling burning inside. It's in my veins, under my skin, it keeps me turning at night. I'd prefer sleep, but I instead is an alternative, right? I'm introverted, been a hermit, still determined to fight, to be heard, sober, on the verge of a permanent high, submerged beneath the currents, only to rise to the turbulent sky. Heavy heart, but still get urges to fly. It's more than urges, this feeling, it's purpose, it's persevering. A cat peering between the curtains when the birds are near. I'm certain fear has been a factor. Let's take the clock and run it back to when I could barely walk from selling plasma for any high a cap could capture. Back when my parents split, kids spit in my hair, I had to fight like I wasn't scared of shit. Embarrassment erupted into arrogance, filled the air and then sunk right back into despair again. Prepare the paraphernalia to bury the feelings. Contemplate the world beyond repair as I stare at the ceiling, wanting more.
Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real.
No rules, that's what they say, right? Fucking A right, I'ma make it by day, renegade by night. And I pray my sight never strays to the place where I hate my life. Petty motherfuckers wanna take my light, knock my shine, mock my dreams, get them off my mind. But I'm on my grind, in my prime, pins in the skin when I spit my rhymes. If I decide to give my name a little spit shot, I'm hopping in my spaceship, heading off at breakneck speed, them haters falling to the wayside. I'ma stay H-I-G-H till I hit great H-E-I-G-H-T-S. You can have my E-X plus the B-S, I'm headed out to recess. Eject, no regrets, respect to the teeth checked.
Fear wasn't real.
No rewinds, peace sign to the free time.
Fear wasn't real.
No handouts, make a stand and it'll stand out. Make a play and play it out, to play it down, to play around. No time to play games, I'm a player now, don't wait around. Middle finger raised as a grimace at my grave, girl, I can show you hell and know my way around. I know if I wanted that I could say that I'm a prophet, but I'm way too modest if I'm being honest to think of my God. My girl is a goddess, they got us in chains, they got us in bondage. I'm plotting for change, I'm plotting for progress, I promise that.
Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Is it really so hard to believe?
Some days I wake and think I'm dreaming. I hold my breath and close my eyes and half expect it all to disappear, but the cycles keep repeating. My mind's so sharp, my heart is bleeding. I walk to make what's distant near. When I pass the sick and sleeping, I don't interfere, but I kiss their ears and whisper, keep believing. I've uttered 1,000 prayers and each have meaning, though they're all the same. Thank you. Today I lived. Thank you. Today I learned. Thank you. Today I fell to agony. Thank you. Today I doubted I could take another day. Thank you. Today I looked at death yet turned away. Thank you. It's about time that I admit that I am afraid. I am afraid that I am a slave. I am so desperately afraid that when I fall into my grave and fade away, there will be nothing. I'm afraid that I am nothing, but that's okay. Because fear isn't real. Fear isn't real.
Albert Einstein once observed that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another.
Hi, and welcome to the Satori Show with your host, Amy Satori, your intuitive spiritual counselor. Amy's work centers around the energy that is in everything and everywhere. Her rare ability is to identify the energy from any source, and with the help of her guides on the other side, provides an incredibly accurate assessment of what's really going on, albeit with people living or past, pets, the human body, and her specialty, twin flame relationships. And now we're proud to announce that the show is live at the Lighthouse Bookstore every Sunday night from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So you can talk to Amy and see for yourself just how special her abilities really are. Just call 256-291-1191. So now sit back and join me, Kevin McDonald, as we present this episode of The Satori Show. And welcome to the show, everybody. Yes, you're listening to The Satori Show. And your host is here, Amy Satori, and that song. I would like to ask Amy about that song that you just heard right here on The Satori Show. And there was a voice in there, Amy. It sounded suspiciously like somebody that we both know. Who was that?
That was I, said the fly. And yeah, no. I got the coolest email from a producer, I think in the Seattle area, a couple months ago. And he let me know that he created this really cool song and that my voice was in it, and he wanted my permission to use it. So it got me really curious, and the more I found out about his project, the more I was like, wow, we are like totally on the same page. This is like so cool. I love what his project is about, and the song is so cool. And so, yeah, I got some of the backstory, and I was like, you got to come on the show. You got to promote your album on the show. So here we are, and we've been waiting for this date for a couple months. So just wanted to introduce him to all of you guys. This is Cosmo, and welcome, Cosmo, to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
So why don't you give them some of the background that you gave me as to how this whole thing even happened, and how did I become part of it?
Yeah, so one of the running themes when I was making the body of work that the song was included in initially was kind of like a series of samples that were used to speak about some of the more spiritual sides of the album without directly using my voice or directly speaking to the audience. And so I used a bunch from a series of movies and stuff, and I was just kind of patrolling through YouTube and just trying to find samples that were saying some of the things that I was thinking about. So I think I typed in profound quotes or something, and one of your videos, you're just kind of reading quotes back. I found one that I really liked, and chopped it up and put it in there.
Yeah, and wasn't there a point where you were actually going to get rid of my voice and put in some kind of computer-generated version of...
Yeah, well, yeah, your voice is the only one of the samples that I got permission for, so it's the only one that remains of that idea. That and I was particularly attached to that one because it, I kind of named the song, and I created the cohesion that I usually look for when I'm determining if something can kind of make it past the draft phase and into something more permanent. So.
Very cool. And didn't you say that you had a bunch of guys all sitting around the room and you were all figuring out some kind of a loop or something that you could put it on,
yeah.
And you were going to take it out, and then all of a sudden everybody freaked out because it started like repeating on its own or something? What happened?
Yeah. So I was sitting there with my co-producer and his girlfriend, and we were kind of working on the song and trying to finish the music, finish the composition, so to speak. And we were just kind of trying out effects to see if we could make the sample gel a little more, make it a little more interesting to the ears. And there's a kind of effect. It's called like a stutter or a randomizer, and it just kind of takes little small sections and repeats them purposefully, but in a random way. It's very difficult to control. It's not a purposeful plug-in so much as it's meant to create all of these random sounds that you kind of change the sound in a way that would be more difficult to do manually. So we put one of those on the sample, and it started looping a section. It took different parts of the statement that you make in the sample, and so it starts repeating the words "fear isn't real," and man, we all just got chills. It was a really cool moment, especially since it almost ties into a lot of what the album is about, which is my perception of reality changing and my relationship with what some would call God. Others, the universe, maybe, but you can kind of tell when God's hand is in the room. And, it gives you just this feeling of connection, like synchronicity, if you would. And I really felt that. I really felt that in the room at the time.
Well, that happens to be what this show is about. That is so cool. And Kevin, I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's kind of funny because I talk to Twin Flames a lot on this show, and for you guys out there, that this it turned out to be the 11th song on the album, the 11th track. And the album is really it's about like spiritual evolution and enlightenment. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the running themes. It's weird because I use that as a pronoun, as an adjective a lot. That isn't always very descriptive. But I've had difficulty expressing some of the running themes because there's so many threads that I tried to pull together. But the spiritual journey that I was undergoing at the time, and in truth am still undergoing, was definitely a key component, and one that I tried to keep in the background, and something that could be implicitly derived as you listen to the album through the feelings and things that you I mean to have the listener draw that meaning rather than me explicitly tell them.
So Cosmo, let me ask you, first of all, what's the name of the album?
The album is titled Faux Real, and that's F-A-U-X real, so like false reality, really a juxtaposition between what's false and real.
And when does the album... When is the album going to be released? When is the big date?
the album's releasing tonight. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It should be on this evening. Tomorrow's the official release party here in Portland, Oregon.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to pick up the album or to listen to it, where do they go?
Yeah, so you can get it on iTunes or the Google Play Store if you want to purchase it. You can also stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, I think Amazon. I think you can purchase it on Amazon too. Wherever you stream music, you should be able to find it under my artist name, Cosmo Problems.
I love that, Cosmo Problems, because you Cosmo Problems for people.
This is going to become Faux Real, Faux Show. And quick.
Well, we're real excited that you have done this, and I know that this is a project that you've been working on for over 3 years. Give us a little sense of your journey that you've been on and your passion for the work that you have undertaken here.
Well, part of the journey was developing a passion for the work that I've undertaken. It was kind of like, it felt like the project chose me, really. I pay a lot of close attention to, like, the journey, what it means to be an artist and the journey that an artist undertakes when they take on a body of work. And I think I've gained some skill at my craft, but the evolution is that art kind of moves through you. And, you know, I started out this journey just making music, really coming from a place almost under the illusion of Maya, a Hindu concept, the cosmic illusion, which I think of kind of as just like living in the mundane, everyday life before you started to wake up to the true nature of the universe. And a lot of my reasons for making music weren't particularly altruistic. You know, I just kind of wanted to make music, wanted people to like me, wanted just normal things, you know, I like to live and all that. But as I just kind of started hearing this music in my head, and it was like a voice that was mine that I hadn't really grown into yet. And that kind of became like a carrot in front of me that I pursued throughout the course of the album, and tremendous growth through hardship over the course of making it. A lot of it is detailed pretty explicitly in the album. There's a series of skits that I title Iterations, and they tell real life stories that happened to me as I was making this album, and some that predate its creation. But I wanted like a mix of like real life events and then the poetry, which almost tells a larger than life story of like the caricature of who I am, but it's still all kind of based on the character of me. And I just learned such a tremendous amount about myself making this project, and really had the chance to chronicle what it means to wake up to the light of the universe as I'm waking up to it, and not a reflection in hindsight. So it's been a real trip.
Have you watched that movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Sarah Marshall, you know, I've seen it in passing. As you know, someone was watching it in the next room.
The guy in the movie is making his own. He's making his own song, and she kind of steers him toward, well, it kind of sounds kind of funny to me, and he goes, oh, I didn't think of it being funny, and then it ends up becoming a play, and it's a comedy, and it ends up being like really awesome. But when I heard your album, I was like, this is going to be a play. It's got such a great theatrical feel. I could totally see that happening for you. That'd be really, really awesome. And what a great...
Oh, sorry, please continue.
No, just, I mean, how cool to be able to, you know, some people write a book or whatever, but it's such a unique work of art. I mean, it's so, It's like I mean, it's like nothing I've ever heard. That's what's so cool about it. What is the category rap, or what is it? Like, what's it classified under?
I mean, technically, I get to classify it. I put it under hip hop rap because technically I am rapping, but I also listed it as alternative music. I think if I were going to invent a genre for it, I'd probably call it like prog rap, or there's people that make art rap,
cool.
and I could maybe go in there. But I drew a lot of influence from Pink Floyd. And some of the progressive rock. I like a lot of the emotions, the long format songs that kind of transition and go through almost like epic ballads and stuff. I drew a lot of influence there. So
amazing.
I've had a really hard time typecasting it because some of the key elements of hip hop and rap that people identify rap by are absent from music, and some key elements that other genres have are absolutely present in my music, and I'm trying to find the best way to describe it to people, because I think there's a certain stigma that comes with a lot of hip-hop. When you call yourself a rapper, not so much to say that you make hip-hop, but when you call yourself a rapper, there's a stigma from the way that kind of rap became a popular music that gets foisted on you, that has a lot to do with just the way that the public sees rap music.
Yeah, I got started in rap with LL Cool J. And I actually memorized that word "I'm bad" or that song "I'm Bad." I could totally.
Hum a few bars.
No. Not without some music going along with it. But yeah, I know that song, and that's how I got started. And then Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. That's not rap, but I mean, that's how I got started in all this type of thing. Now I'm really into trap, but not like so much into it that I actually know the groups. But anyway.
Well,
yeah,
Cosmo, I do have to say that you were talking my language when you brought up Pink Floyd and The Wall and all of the things that they did, and The Who and Tommy and the themes behind an entire concept album. Is that how you view this album, as a concept album?
That was not my initial intention when I started making it. I kind of stumbled into making this art, one happy accident after another.
That's how life works.
and that's how music works. That's how art works, especially. I think there's a big misconception about artists, that the artists are geniuses. I don't think real artists are mediums more than they are geniuses. The mind does not create art. When I make music with my mind, it's boring. It's really boring. It's not something I enjoy listening to, and it's usually fueled by some sort of ego trip. But when the muse or the something beyond makes music, you know immediately, because it goes from you thinking to just you writing, and all of a sudden it all comes out. And I think some of the topics that are behind Pink Floyd and a lot of the progressive rock and psychedelic rock, they had like high flying ideals, truth, really truth, in that music. And I think that's something that a lot of music has become out of touch with, because people have become obsessed with craft, and people have become obsessed with music sounding very pristine and almost very orderly. Even songs that are meant to convey great emotion almost miss it by making the sound quality just so perfect. Everything so perfect. Everything in its place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a rawness that I'd like to see brought back, that really comes from that era of music.
That's awesome. Did you now I know that Signs and Synchronicities had a lot to do with the creation of this album. Are there other other stories you can share about some of these neat synchronicities and things that came together for you?
Yeah. Well, the one with Fear Isn't Real was kind of the most dramatic one.
That's cool.
I think there's a. Sorry, I'm trying to think of a good one to pick.
It tends to happen kind of all along, though. You were talking like kind of like being a medium for the music. I'm sure that all along you were like, do I take this direction or this direction? And then something kind of magically happened, and you're like, oh, that's the way I'm going with that.
That's how everything.
And doesn't it kind of feel magical? Like it just starts to like unfold, and then you're like, wow, this thing's kind of taking me. Yeah. Yeah.
I should say there's sporadic moments of magic and a lot of brutal grinding anxiety over each decision, and then realizing that each decision would come together magically, and then more brutal grinding anxiety over the next decision. Especially because of I think the next projects that I make will not take nearly as long to make because I had to develop my skills as a producer over the course of this project. I started out as a rapper and as a vocalist, and I wasn't very good at making the music, and I hired a producer who I worked with for a while, and I just wasn't altogether satisfied with the work, and so I decided that I had to finish making it myself, and that was about halfway into production. I had to start the whole album over.
Oh my God.
And make everything myself, and I basically had to butcher all of my favorite songs and turn them into new ones. And take a lot of the lyrics. The lyrics were the only things that I wound up not changing, but all of the music was completely redone. All of the recordings had to be completely redone, and this was after paying this guy for several years.
Oh my gosh.
And
so how did you deal with the anxiety that you were dealing with?
My acute anxiety developed just as I was really starting to take the project seriously, through circumstances that are probably genetic and arguably spiritual. I had my first panic attack right in the middle of that. I thought I was dying.
Oh my gosh.
And it got so bad that it was really my sense of reality got so distorted. I barely felt like there was anything holding me into this world. I had some very serious conversations with God, just because I was barely holding on there. I was really lucky. My dad was willing to talk to me on the phone a lot. I spent a lot of time leaning
that's a
on
good
a few
dad.
close friends and family. Yeah.
Cosmo, remember today's Father's Day. Have you called your dad yet? Some of us haven't.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I haven't called my dad, but he's also he calls it a Hallmark holiday and turns his nose up at Father's Day. And
too commercialized.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't love my pop. So.
That's awesome. He was there for you.
I mean, he's very consistently there for me. Both my parents are really the greatest blessing I have in this world. They've been really supportive. I dropped out of college at an engineering school to make this album.
Wow.
And I've just received a lot of support from the people I care around me to help me make it. So.
By the way, we're talking with Cosmo Problem, and he's got a new album out, and one of the songs, number 11 on the album, is Fear Isn't Real, with our very own Amy, who is on that particular song. We encourage you to go out and search down this album, which, again, he's going to give us the name, Cosmo. The name of the album, again, is?
That's Faux Real, Faux Real.
And you can pick it up at Amazon and probably iTunes and Google Voice and any of those fine places that you download music from. And you can go look at that. And I highly encourage you to download the album. It is a very unique, interesting piece of work. And Amy, to be honest with you, I'm a little bit more along the lines of Pink Floyd and The Who and those guys rather than rap. I'm a little older, and rap came around when I was already formulated. But Amy loves it, so so I take her word for it. Sorry. But I've listened to that song, and I love it a lot. I think you're a very talented man, and have done some extraordinary work. And with the help of the other side, because I believe all music is channeled, real good music is channeled, and it is something that you've worked very hard on, and I appreciate that, and we both do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, well,
yeah,
I certainly appreciate those words. I feel just an overwhelming sense of gratitude right now.
Yeah, well, I listened to the whole album, and I got chills sometimes, and it was so heartfelt and so real. I felt like I'd gone on a journey. It totally took me in the moment, because it was just I couldn't even think about my life when I was listening to it. I was just kind of enthralled with what you were going through in each song. I was like, wow, this is like taking me on a trip. I felt like I was in the passenger side of the vehicle as you were going through the album. And I was like, wow, this is a crazy trip.
Well,
so that was really neat.
Say vehicle, because I wrote the whole album in my car.
Oh my gosh!
Like my safe place.
You would think I'm psychic or something.
Writing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
I've been really taken aback by people's responses. I've had, like strangers like brought to tears in my car listening to it, because I work as an Uber driver, so I'm showing my fares.
Oh my gosh.
I'm amazed at some of the reactions I received. So.
Oh, that is so awesome. I hope this album really takes off for you.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually, I've just been kind of in the last round of suffering, waiting for this release party tomorrow. My anxiety will not let me be.
You need to go to my resources page. I've got lots of great tools there. AmySatori.com. Click on the resources.
That brings up an interesting. I was just going to say it brings up an interesting point. I would see now, Cosmo. I'm sure that you are aware that Amy is our resident psychic and can talk to the other side and feel into things. And it would be remiss of us if we did not have her access her gifts to access the other side and talk about you, your work, the album, and what she sees potentially happening for you. Are you up for that? Would you like Amy to read into that for you?
I would love it.
Cool.
Amy.
Okay. You're going to meet LL Cool J. I seriously got the word Hollywood right off the bat. Like, Hollywood is going to eat this up. And I'm serious when I say you're going to get to meet LL. But when you do, tell him I said hi, and I would love to meet him. That'd be so cool. But you're gonna. I see you definitely at some parties with some celebrities. I see. Yeah, you're gonna be taking a trip to LA. And it feels like it might be even within a couple months. Let me take a look at like how quickly this thing catches on. It's going to seem like it's kind of quiet for just a little bit, and then all of a sudden it gets in the right hands. And it can become like a feeding frenzy. It feels like, it's just going to feel like a little bit of dead air time before it hits. I'm not let's see. It's like, yeah, I do feel like some I don't know I don't know the industry very well. Like, is it a playwright that would kind of like want to take off with this and actually make it into a play? Because I see somebody getting really creative with it and being super excited. It was just what they were looking for. It's a guy with a really he's got like black glasses and dark hair, short dark hair, and he's got like, he really, really loves stuff that's new and fresh and unique, and this is exactly what he was looking for, is something that you just don't hear every day. And he is going to be all excited about what he can make happen with it. Whoever he is, he seems like a really, like some kind of bigwig, producer, person, director. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely going to be theatrical, though. It feels theatrical still. Also, and I just got the word music, so it's like, well, of course music, but I feel like also it's going to be played on the airwaves. I'm trying to see if it's going to become like a number one hit or anything. I don't know if it's going to go that far. Maybe, but it's in its own way in the arena of plays and all that. It's definitely going to be a hit there. And it is going to become quite popular and talked about. You're going to get some public interviews other than this show. You're going to get a lot more interviews of people wanting to talk to you about how in the world you came up with this. And I feel you being really relieved. You know, it's like you gave birth to, it was a tough labor pains. But once your baby's out there and it's starting to get those accolades, I feel you feeling like really a lot of satisfaction comes from this project. And I feel like you're going to have probably 2 or 3 more albums that are going to be similar. And you're you might be going through another name change. Somewhere between the first album and the last 3, or the next 3, I guess you could say. I think there might be some kind of a name change that happens or something like that. But you're definitely going to get known for this. They're calling it, like, in my mind, they're calling it a stunt. You're going to get some satisfaction from this stunt. Yeah. Good things are to come of this. For sure.
How does that feel, Cosmo?
Yeah, you know, those words are actually a great relief. That's really what I needed to hear right now.
You'll have to keep us posted and let us know how that goes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just got a few dollar signs. So dollar signs are a really, really good sign. Means you're going to be bringing in some money.
Whew, I hope so, man. I'm still, I had to move into my mom's over the course of this project.
Oh.
It takes. I mean, I was spending 12 hours a day, 7 days a week on this for some time.
Wow. It feels. I got a visual, like you're sitting at your mom's place, and there's like this ticket that rides through, and you jump on the ticket like a magic carpet, and it takes you out of your mom's place. It's like, this is your ticket out of there.
Let's go. Oh yeah, big shout out to my mom. She put up a lot of money to help me do this. I probably spent $20,000 or $30,000 trying to put this project together out of pocket.
Oh wow, Cosmo, I'd like to. Oh, absolutely. I would like to relay a story to you about a young man that was trying to make a name for himself. He was an author. He was a screenplay guy, and he everything kind of happened for him synchronistically because he watched a fight one time. A guy by the name of Chuck Wepner was fighting Muhammad Ali, and Chuck stepped on Muhammad Ali's foot, and Muhammad Ali fell down, and it became a big deal in the news stories. And so he took that, and he wrote this screenplay. He wrote it in 3 days, and somebody offered him some money for the screenplay, And he said no because he wanted the starring role. He thought he could be that guy. Got so bad that he at one point had $102 in his wallet and couldn't afford to feed his dog, so he had to give away his dog. He was almost to the end of his rope, and somehow people started offering him more money for the screenplay, but he stuck to his guns. He would not give it up. He wanted to be the starring role. And finally, somebody came along and liked the script so much and liked him enough that they let him have the starring role of this movie. The name of the movie was called Rocky. Sylvester Stallone is the guy that I'm talking about, and he ended up obviously being a multimillionaire, but it was because he stuck to his guns and believed in his project and wouldn't sell it out for money. And as a matter of fact, he ended up buying his dog back for $12,000. And that dog was in the first movie, and it was Brutus, the dog was in the first movie. So stick to your guns. What you've done here is remarkable. And there's a reason why it was done and why you did it. And you were given that as a gift from the heavens, from God, wherever you want to talk to. So stick to your guns. Somebody's going to come, like Amy says, and ask you for and offer you some stuff for it. But stick to your guns. Do what you believe is right, and it will go really well for you.
Yeah, and when you get to be a really big deal, you better come back on the show and tell us all about it.
You better believe it, sister.
Yeah, it'd be cool to touch base down the line and see how it all pans out. I'd love to do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got to do a blessing for this album. But before that, I just wanted to say I shouldn't, and it'll stay that way. The best rapper you've heard is LL Cool J, Kamikaze. Take a look at what I've done. I used to rap in my basement. Now I'm number one. So there you are. You're going to be number one from your car to all the way to the top, man. It's going to be great.
And you'll have a hell of a story to tell.
All right. Let me do a blessing for this. Okay, so Cosmo, you haven't experienced one of my blessings yet. I should probably prepare you. I just thought of that. This is called light language, and it is basically a channeled language that comes through. It's some people know it as tongues, or it's the language of the angels, and it basically, depending on your intention that you set, this loving energy kind of pours through me to whoever is listening, and it bypasses their ego, goes straight to their heart, and activates whatever it is that they need in that moment, and it ties into the intention. So my intention is for your album to be very successful, for it to bring you in, plenty of abundance, to help catapult your career, and to really benefit and touch the hearts of those who listen to it. So I'll tell you any impressions I get afterwards, but as you're listening to this, it's going to sound a little funny, but just you feel it in your body and receive it and see if it has any effect on your body as I say this blessing. So hang on just a minute. Ai shan kapansa ai laborona ashe se kin kampuna patela halen ake sander so some pekintan a labarina hale shusim bi kantona te ela hale shusim tena kasho sambanona hawa oma katansa e halehina o hosha se de kimpos hale pushu sona pukona alai kaina hahuna eja sona teta ale puko shonsa tete inabaika Hasho sonte pe kalatena tateta osha kepena de la orobana takiza. They said they're going to help you get a better sleep as well. That was in there. They snuck that in there.
Yeah, I get most of my worst panic attacks right before bed.
One thing that kind of helps with that, because I had PTSD years ago, just so you know. One of the things you can do if that should happen is when you wake up in the middle of the night, try to get really present in the moment and really practice that. there's a great book, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, that I highly recommend if you're learning about the
Eckhart
ego.
Tolle's fantastic.
Yes. So just get really in the moment. Feel the covers, like grab your sheets and your comforter around you and feel the texture of it, and just really remind yourself that right here, right now, in this moment, there's nothing to fear. Fear isn't real. And just really get anchored, get really anchored in the fact that you're in a bedroom completely and totally supported in every way possible by the universe, and maybe even tap into your spirit guides and the angels that are around you and just kind of feel their comfort and support. It's such a detached support. It's like, we're standing here if you need us, but we want to let you work this through, because there's usually some kind of a lesson in it. So they kind of like spot you, like if you're weightlifting, they kind of spot you. But it feels good to kind of broaden your awareness to be aware of what's around you in the formless world in a time like that as well. So I hope that helps. You could also use Gotu Kola, Gotu Kola, or Kava Kava or valerian root. Those all can help, but don't use them every single night, because they can work against. If your body ends up not needing those things, then it'll start keeping you awake. So only need it,
Right.
Only use it when you need it.
Yeah, I actually had a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Cosmo.
Yeah, I actually had a. I don't know. I'm a bit clairvoyant, and I actually had an interaction with an angel right before I got on the air. I was so distraught.
You're kidding. What happened?
Kind of when it happens, it's like almost like the air shimmers in kind of geometric patterns, almost like sun rays kind of layered all over one another, but not like bright like the sun is. It's almost like a translucent presence. I just kind of felt like my forehead was being pressed on. I kind of felt this intention
so cool.
of just saying, like, it's okay.
Aw.
Relax.
Did you get anything while I was doing the blessing?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
It's kind of like waves moving through me. This is what it felt like. It's like a bit of a warm, staticky feeling.
Oh, cool. Very cool. How neat.
Cosmo, I just had a thought. Amy said right at the end of her blessing that, fear isn't real. I was wondering, maybe you could write a song about that and put it in an album, and then you could put that album out there, and you could impact the world in a very positive way. What do you think?
Well, I think today's your lucky day, my friend.
Again,
it just so happens.
I want to give you, our heartfelt congratulations. It is a wonderful project that you're doing, and we wish you much success. Where, by the way, is the opening party going to be tomorrow?
Yeah, so I'm in Portland, Oregon. If there's any listeners who are in Portland and want to come out and support, there's a bar on Southeast Morrison Street. The bar is called Home. Home, a bar. And that's 719 Southeast Morrison Street. The party will be Monday, June 18th at 9 o'clock p.m. And we'll feature performances by yours truly.
Oh, that's just truly awesome. See, do you promise to come back and to give us an update in a month or so and let us know how the opening party went and how things are progressing for you?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yay.
It's a date, my friend. and so with that, Amy, first of all, Cosmo, you're our guest. Is there anything that you'd like to tell our audience before we close this podcast?
Just live in the light.
Yeah.
And Amy?
Well, now I don't know if I say fear isn't real anymore. But it's more true than ever. he's actually like valid proof. I mean, look, he was facing his fears this whole entire album, and he is, realizing more all the time that it's true, that fear isn't real. It is just an illusion. So,
and that is so true. Cosmo, thank you for being on the show. By the way, the name of the album one more time is?
The album is called Faux Real, F-A-U-X Real, by Cosmo Problems.
And you can get that at go to iTunes or Google Voice or any number of platforms that you can just type in Cosmo, and I'm sure that he'll come up and that album will come up. And with that, thank you, Cosmo, for being on the show. Thank you, Amy, for hosting the show. And just remember, forever trust in who you really are, and nothing else matters. We'll see you next time on The Satori Show.
The explosive power comes from the real. But you are well advised to have your mind ready for it. Fear will delay until another opportunity arises. In practice, a situation must arise when all the factors necessary for self-realization are present. Fear wasn't real. 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 Fear wasn't
There
real.
ain't no words to describe this feeling burning inside. It's in my veins, under my skin, it keeps me turning at night. I'd prefer sleep, but instead is an alternative, right? I'm introverted, been a hermit, still determined to fight, to be heard, sober, on the verge of a permanent high, submerged beneath the currents, only to rise to the turbulent sky. Heavy heart, but still get urges to fly. It's more than urges, this feeling, it's purpose, it's persevering. A cat peering between the curtains when the birds are near. I'm certain fear has been a factor. Let's take the clock and run it back to when I could barely walk from selling plasma for any high a cap could capture. Back when my parents split, kids spit in my hair. I had to fight like I wasn't scared of shit. Embarrassment erupted into arrogance, filled the air and then sunk right back into despair again. Prepare the paraphernalia to bury the feelings. Contemplate the world beyond repair as I stare at the ceiling, wanting more.
Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real.
No rules, that's what they say, right? Fucking A right, I'ma make it by day, renegade by night. And I pray my sight never strays to the place where I hate my life. Petty motherfuckers wanna take my light, knock my shine, mock my dreams, get them off my mind. But I'm on my grind, in my prime, pins in the skin when I spit my rhymes. If I decide to give my name a little spit shot, I'm up into my spaceship, heading off the breakneck speed, them haters falling to the wayside. I'ma stay H-I-G-H till I hit great H-E-I-G-H-T-S. You can have my E-X plus the B-S, I'm headed out to recess. Eject, no regrets, respect to the teeth checked.
Fear wasn't real.
No rewinds, peace sign to the free time.
Fear wasn't real.
No handouts, make a stand and don't stand out. Make a play and play it out, to play it down, to play around. No time to play games, I'm a player now, don't wait around. Middle finger raised as a grimace at my grave, girl, I could show you hell and know my way around. I know if I wanted that I could say that I'm a prophet, but I'm way too modest if I'm being honest to think I'm a god. My girl is a goddess, they got us in chains, they got us in bondage. I'm plotting for change, I'm plotting for progress, I promise that.
Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real. Fear wasn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Is it really so hard to believe?
Some days I wake and think I'm dreaming. I hold my breath and close my eyes and half expect it all to disappear, but the cycles keep repeating. My mind's so sharp, my heart is bleeding. I walk to make what's distant near. When I pass the sick and sleeping, I don't interfere, but I kiss their ears and whisper, keep believing. I've uttered 1,000 prayers and each have meaning, though they're all the same. Thank you. Today I lived. Thank you. Today I learned. Thank you. Today I fell to agony. Thank you. Today I doubted I could take another day. Thank you. Today I looked at death yet turned away. Thank you. It's about time that I admit that I am afraid. I am afraid that I am a slave. I am so desperately afraid that when I fall into my grave and fade away, there will be nothing. I'm afraid that I am nothing, but that's okay, because fear isn't real. Fear isn't real.
You've been listening to The Satori Show. Please visit Amy's website, www.amysatori.com, to find out more about this incredible talent. The views expressed during this podcast are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of management or the owners of this podcast. What you need to know is that Amy is a wonderful teacher, guide, and communicator for the unseen world. What she does not pretend to be is a doctor, fortune teller, seer of world events, or predictor of what is to come. What Amy presents is real, based on her understanding of the world and communication with that unseen world. As always, you're free to decide for yourself as to what to believe. Regardless, we love and accept you completely just as you are. And thanks again for listening to The Satori Show. You've been listening to The Satori Show. Please visit Amy's website, www.amysatori.com, to find out more about this incredible talent. The views expressed during this podcast are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of management or the owners of this podcast. What you need to know is that Amy is a wonderful teacher, guide, and communicator for the unseen world. What she does not pretend to be is a doctor, fortune teller, seer of world events, or predictor of what is to come. What Amy presents is real, based on her understanding of the world and communication with that unseen world. As always, you're free to decide for yourself as to what to believe. Regardless, we love and accept you completely just as you are. And thanks again for listening to The Satori Show.